Okay, I'm finally getting back out in the shop here, and we left off with me making a gear cutter here, and I actually messed it up. It should have had 5 teeth on it. I put 4 on it, but I think it'll still work. A friend of mine, he treated it for me. It's a 62 Rockwell now, so I am going to try to use it without. I was going to put a secondary relief on it and a primary relief on the teeth, but I'm thinking that it'll cut just fine without doing that. So I'm going to give that a shot. And if it doesn't cut clean like I want, then I will go ahead and I'll set it up and actually sharpen it like an end mill. I'll take and put a finger underneath and grind a secondary relief and then grind a primary relief on it, which I'll show that process if I end up doing that. Since I made that, I went ahead and I made just a little mandrel. It's all it is I have drilled and tapped a hole on one end, and that's where I'm going to put, I talked about I'm going to make this gear without an indexing head or a rotary table. I'm going to show you how to create a indexing disc for it. And it's very simple. It's I've used this technique a couple times because I don't have a rotary table. I have just an indexing head, and I can only index to certain increments. And sometimes you have a gear that will, the equal spacing is going to be in seconds, and this is a way around that so that you can index it almost perfect. It depends on how much time you want to spend on it, but I'm going to show you how to do that. And that indexer that we're going to make will fit on this end, on the opposite end. And on this end, I just turned a little spud on it for the gear blank to fit on. It's just and then I drilled and tapped a hole in the end, just to hold it in place. And what'll happen is I will take this and basically mount it in a V block, just like that. And I'll put it in vise, and I'll have my indexing disc that I'm going to put on here in place, and that I will use to index it. I don't need to really set a stop this way in and out, because I'll be cranking or moving it back and forth. I'm going to do this on the manual machine. I'm not going to do it on a CNC. So I will go and work on making the disc for indexing this. So when I come back, we'll be over at the mill, and we will be trying to set up and make a disc for this. Okay, so what you want to do is find a disc. I'm going to use nothing more than it's an ice cream bucket cover, but the bigger the diameter, the more accurate your gear will be. So I'm going to take this, and that's basically it's 8 inches, 540 in diameter. And what you want to do is you want to take this, you want to drill a hole right in the center of it. And once you drill a hole in the center of that, you figure out what the circumference is around it. Just pi times the diameter, which equals, on this here, it's 26 inches and 829 2/10. Okay, so then what you do is you take, if you want a 20-tooth gear, which is, I believe that's what I'm going for, you would take 20 into this, into the circumference. So 20 into that would be 13, 4. Anyway, divide that into there, and that'll give you a distance. And what you do is you put a piece of paper around the circumference and kind of overlap them. Overlap the two pieces of paper, slice it with a razor blade, and then you'll have the exact length around the circumference. Take that out, lay it on your bench, and the number that you come up with for the divisions of into the circumference, the 20 into that, you take and you lay out marks on that piece of paper. 20, it actually will be 19 marks. The first mark will be the end of the tape, or end of the piece of paper. And once you get all the marks on there, you put that on this lid. You mount that on the end of the arbor that you have. You set up a pointer, line up the first mark, make your cut, and then just go around lining up the marks on your lid, on your quick and easy indexing disc. And like I say, I've used this process a few times, and it's worked out fine for me. So it, like I say, the bigger the disc, naturally the bigger, so it's going to be a bigger circumference. You have more tolerance, when you lay those marks in. You want to lay them in as accurate as you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm over in the middle. I'm going to take and just kind of quick dial this cover in so I get the hole pretty close to the center. I mean, it doesn't have to be dead on, but you want it as close as you can get. You don't want to be off 100 thou or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it on. I'm just going to lay it on the table there, and there we go. I'm going to lay it on the table here, and I'm just going to take some of my magnets that I swiped out of a hard drive. I'm going to make sure where the center is going to be lined up with the slot, and I'm just going to lay some magnets on there to hold it in place. Oh man, if you've never messed with hard drive magnets out of a hard drive, they are very strong. I mean, you can take and, well, this one ain't quite, well, there, see, right through my fingers, it can, right through my fingers, you can, they're strong. So you lay these on there. I'm just going to lay a few of them around it. And now I'm going to quick swing that in and get it centered. So I got a setup here. I took the bar out of my mag base, basically. Tighten that up a little bit so it doesn't move around. Okay. Now I'll kind of get it close. Kind of eyeball it here first, and then down here, and we're not close yet. So there, I'm just going to get it closer on Y. It's really crappy outside today. Cold, windy, damp. So I do have a lot of yard work yet to do out in the yard to get ready for winter, but I'd rather be inside today. Okay, so we're getting close now. So, and like I say, this doesn't have to be dead on, but it makes your gear a little more accurate if it's really close. But when I say really close, I mean within 50 thou. To me, that's close is 50 thou, and then dead on would be plus or minus 1. I don't know. I know some people, oh no, dead on, you gotta have it right on. Well, in our hobby of engines, little engines, yeah, it doesn't have to be that. We're not running our engines at full speed for long periods of time, so you got to remember that there's a little more clearance, a little more leeway there. Granted that the smaller the engine, the tighter things have to be, though, too. Okay, so I don't know how round this this lid is. I think it's fairly round, but 15. See if I can chase this number around. Let's go out. No, until in. Right. So 5. Yeah, it's a little. That lid is a little funky at the needle dance around, but I'm going to get it pretty centered here on X, and then I'll get it centered on Y. But it is a little bit wavy. Hopefully, when I figure out the circumference and everything, that everything will come out all right. If not, then it's definitely not round. Not round enough. But I've used coffee can lids, which are considerably smaller, and it works. So okay, we're at pretty close there. 0. Okay, we're 8 below. Okay, 4. That is, I am going to say good enough. So I don't like that saying, really. I hear that too much at work. So, and all I'm going to do is poke a hole through that, and I want to poke it through there at the major diameter of the screw. I don't remember. I want to poke it through there, the major diameter of the screw. I think it's a 1/4 inch here. Yep. So do a 1/4 inch drill and poke a hole through it. Okay. That's it. That was simple enough. Okay. Come on off of there. Oh boy. They are. You got to be careful when you get pinched. Okay. So now that'll fit on the end of the that'll fit on the end of the little mandrel that you made. And now we'll get a piece of paper, I'll cut a strip of piece of paper, and I'll show you the next process in this. Okay, I cut a strip of paper. Actually, this is Mylar paper. I wrapped it around my lid, And then I took a razor and I taped it in place, and I took a razor blade and I cut it. So now it's exactly the circumference of this. And as you can see, that is the distance between the marks. So I'm over on the surface plate here, and what I've done, I need to back you up here or something. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Anyway, that's what I've got laying here. I've just got a strip of wood laying here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this down onto it. I'll just tape that down to it. So it doesn't move around. Just put a dab of tape on this side. I got to be able to see the edge yet though. Well, actually, not only the start edge where I start. And I'll tape down the other edge here. And one side is straight, the other's not quite so straight where I cut. Alright. So there it is. Now I take a divider, or compass, with two needles in it, and I take my calipers, and like I say, I set it at the dimension 1 inch 3/41, and then I kind of put it in halfway between the. I know calipers aren't that accurate, but then I go ahead and I set the point. I set the points. I make a test mark in my wood off of the strip. Just poke them in, and I go ahead and I measure that in between just to make sure that I have it set correct. And let's do that again. I didn't keep track of where I got marks here that are. Okay, so those two marks right there. And it looks like I am set at about 20 thou shy, so we'll have to open it up a little bit. I'll set the calipers again to 41, and then go in here and just, once you get it set, this one here has a thumb wheel in between, and once you get it set, as long as you don't bump that thumb wheel, you're fine. It'll stay there. It won't move. You could use the calipers too, I suppose, and just make the marks all along. All right, let's see what we got here now. Put a there and there. Measure. Still a little shy. Open it up just about a quarter, not even a quarter turn. And measure again. It's getting close. Just a little bit more. Okay, go over here where you got the marks. And there, yep. There. That looks good right there. So now basically all you do is you just go ahead and line up that point, the edge of your tape, poke it in, swing it around. Try to stay the same distance so you're not going at an angle. And just keep poking the holes down your tape, your paper tape. Let go of that. And once we do this, then I'll just take a pencil to make it more legible and then draw a line on those spots. You get, I'm sure you're kind of get my drift now that you realize, I'm sure you're realizing what I'm doing here now. So we just continue to go on down this strip and right to the end. Okay. So now I'll just take a straight edge and a pencil. Just take a 6-inch rule and a pencil, and you can see the marks or the holes plain as day, and just draw a line on them, on each one. Try to hit the hole. That first one I was a little off, I think. Okay, where's my next one here? What happened here? Looks like I'm almost missing a hole here. There. Oh, there it is. So small I couldn't see it. It's right there. And right there. I should have poked them in a little deeper. Making the old eyes work, try to see the spots. That's why I'm putting a pencil mark on, because you really wouldn't have to. You could line up the holes with your pointer when you're set up on the mill, but then you're constantly trying to find them like this. Right there it is. Cataracts in my eyes don't help a whole lot. And then the last one is on the, no, last one's on here. This is my splice. And I kind of lost it now. Oh, right there. Right there it is. I had to splice a couple pieces together. It's probably, if you get a big enough lid, you'll end up doing that too, unless you have some paper long enough. I suppose you could, well, newspaper wouldn't work very well, I guess. Didn't push him in real well here. There. Poke him in a little deeper. Poking him in a little deeper so that I can see. Like I say, I have cataracts in my right eye that's pretty bad to let my left eye a little bit, and sometimes it makes it a little difficult to see things. Okay, so now I got all the lines laid out on the strip, and what I'll do is untape it, tape it to the edge, bolt this to my mandrel, and set up a pointer on the mill. And when I get that far, I'll come back. Okay, we're back over here on the mill. I mounted my indexing wheel onto the mandrel, and now we're gonna set it up in the mill here. So put a couple parallels in here and set the 1, 2, 3 block on that, or V block, like 1, 2, 3 block, yeah. Set that on there. Let's get you over here where you can kind of see. Let's see what's going on. All right. So then I take our handy dandy freshly made index wheel and stick that on here like that. Take my clamp. Yeah, I'm gonna get the handle for that clamp, or for the block clamp. If I can find it. Right here. I don't know if that's the same size as my. I don't know. Well, I'll just use an Allen wrench then. A small Allen wrench. I'll just stick a small Allen wrench through it and just tighten it up. Okay. Now we're going to set up a pointer over here. We'll set it off of here and line up something over here. So stuff out of the way, and I could probably use clamp that on there. Yeah, I think what I'll do. I'm just kind of jerry rigging or whatever you want to call it. Just rigging up just kind of a quick little something to gauge off of. You know it. So we'll take that. I need a step lock. Not even. Move over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just putting this angle block, just kind of temporarily clamping that on there. Okay. All right. That's not going to move. Now I want to just clamp something here over to the wheel, you know, so that it's pointing over there. I could use a mag base, I suppose. Oh. It could be anything. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Shoot, I don't have anything. Let me round something up to clamp on there and I'll come back. Okay, I wanted it a little higher, so I clamped this angle plate back to this bigger angle plate, and what I'm going to use for a pointer is nothing more than I'm just going to use a scale. I'm going to lay the scale on there and one of those magnets again, and put that on there, and then slide it up. I've got it already lined up on the first mark, right there. You can see that or not. So, and I tighten that up. Yeah, this Allen wrench ain't going to work very well. I can see that now. So I gotta round up that handle, but now I'll set, or I'll tighten the screw up here and for the blank, and I'll get the gear cutter in the spindle. And the thing I have to do yet before I do that, before I go and get this and put this in the spindle, what I want to do is I want to get, come on, focus on that. I want to get the dimension from the end of this to the third tooth here, because I want to set that on center line. I know what the diameter is, so if I get the dimension, the exact dimension from the end of this to that third tooth, then I'll be able to touch off the top, adjust down, and then that third tooth will be on center line. So I got to go do that yet. And once I get that done and get it mounted in the spindle and and ready to touch off, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back again, and got the hob, the homemade hob in the mill, mounted in the mill. I calculated it to be 172 thousandths from the end of the to the third tooth, center of the third tooth, the diameter. Anyway, half the diameter plus the distance to that third tooth is 40. Is it 401? Yeah, 401. Yeah, I better go back and check it. I got a calculator here somewhere. All right, let's just double check. I want to double check to make sure that I'm doing this right. All right. Take the diameter. Take this diameter on the hob, or on the blank here. Okay. Oops. Divide that in half, and then plus the distance to the top, or to the center of that tooth. Yep, 401. That was correct. So I have it in the mill here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch off the top of that blank, and get my handy dandy feeler gauge, which is nothing more than a telephone book. If you've never noticed, I've got a telephone book I just bandsawed into chunks. I hang it on my mill, and when I need a quick touch off feeler, I just grab a little piece of it. Comes in handy, and it's nice to have it just right there. Okay, so we'll crank her up until we touch here. So that's going to get me really close. So we need to go 401. And the telephone paper is actually only a couple thou, so we'll just go 403. So we'll go 100, 200, 300, 403. I'm hoping I'm gonna have enough room here now. Let's see. Yeah, I should. So now we want to touch off. We want to move this in until it touches the blank, and total depth of that tooth is 71 thousandths. So I'm gonna take and see what RPM I'm running. That should be okay. And make sure I'm kind of on the center there, so I don't get a false reading. All right. Everything tightened up. Take that vice handle off. I found that when you got a setup like this, take the vice handle off, because I've caught myself, I don't know how many times, I get done and want to index, I grab the vice handle and loosen it, and I go, darn it. And it's best to just take it off, lay it on the table, put it on the rack or whatever, so that you don't have that happen to you. And maybe I'm the only one that happens to, but that happens to me quite often if I leave that vice handle in there. So we'll crank her in until she just touches here, until she just touches the foam paper. Getting close. There, it just cut that foam paper off. And I do have this. Let me check, make sure I got this tightened up. Yep, that's tight. So now I don't know if I want to take it all in one depth or if I want to take it in a couple. I think this first one I'm going to try full depth. I'm going to crank her out, or crank it in 71 thousandths. We're going to be conventional cutting too, and personally, on little gears and stuff like this, I like to climb cut. Yeah, we'll conventional cut. So we'll crank her in the 71 thousandths, and we'll lock her off here. And I'm going to put just a dab of oil on there. Just going to dab a little oil on. I don't know if I really need to, but we will anyway. Here we go. Okay, that was the first cut. Now we want to loosen this up and index to the next mark. So we'll just kind of loosen that up. Turn it to the next mark. Tighten it up. And make the next cut. First cut should have been the deeper, or the heaviest cut. Now the cut should be a lot lighter. Okay. Again, loosen. Turn to the next mark. Right there. Tighten. And cut. Kind of looks like it's cutting pretty good. Oh, what did I hit here? Oh, I see. I didn't. That first couple cuts, I don't know if I went far enough. I actually went and hit the mandrel itself a little bit, I think. I don't know, we'll see here on this next cut. I can't see back there. Yeah, the bottom of the tooth is just touching the mandrel itself. There, either the shoulder on the mandrel. I should have turned that shoulder on that mandrel down a little bit more, but it'll be all right. And just continue on around the gear, just doing the exact same thing over and over. Just line up the marks until you get all the way around the gear, and when you get done, should have a good gear. I will continue on here. There's no need to continue showing the same thing over and over. But when I get done here, before I take it off, I'll come back. Okay, I made my last cut all the way around using this indexer, and now we'll see what we got. I'm going to, I'll just take it out. I got a couple more blanks that I'm going to do, so I'm going to zero my dial here so I know where to go back to. I'm zeroing my y-axis, and I'm just going to crank it out 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 turns. And we'll take that off of there. Let's see, where's my air hose? Air nozzle. I'm impressed with how well that cut. Without sharpening, or without putting any, you know, secondary or any relief angles on it. It cut really nice. I'm sure in harder material, yeah, it'd be a little different story. But as far as in brass, and actually when I hit the cold roll steel, it's cut that fairly nice too. You can see here on the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but on the mandrel itself, I didn't gonna focus. No. But anyway, I didn't cut that shoulder small enough, so it actually cut there. So let's just take a look at what we got here. Might have went a little too deep on it. Here it is. I'm thinking it'll still work. It might be a little more clearance than what I would have wanted on it, but I'm going to take a stone and deburr that. I'm going to take a stone here and just kind of get the burrs off of it. Okay, let me see. It was on that way right there. So it's telling me that my center line is off. I can tell by the teeth they've got a bit of an angle to them, which is telling me that my cutter was set a little too high. Or actually, the blank is set too high, the cutter set a little too low. So on the next one, I am going to back it down probably 10 thousandths and then run another one. But like I say, I think this will work. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the gear train on the engine that it belongs on, and we'll just see if it'll work. And after I find out, I'll give you a heads up and then I'm going to reset. Like I say, I'll reset up and cut another one anyway. Okay, I put it in the train. It's the one on it'd be the one on this side over here that I've just got done, and works just fine. Like I say, the center line is off. I can see just a tad. I was going to go 10. I'm going to go 5 on the next one. I'm going to go 5, make another one. I've got 2 more blanks that I want to cut. I want to cut a couple extra gears anyway. I keep losing the darn things, so well, once I get them in here, I shouldn't be taking them out again anyway, but I just want to make a couple extra, just playing around, and I'll make another one, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I went ahead, I dropped the table. I was going to drop it only 5 thou, and I ended up dropping it. I dropped it 7 thousandths. I dropped it down 7 thousandths, and I cut another gear. So, and I just finished the last cut. So, crank her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out, and we'll take that off, and we'll see how this one looks. Like I say, the teeth were just pointed down or slanted down just a tad. And oh man, come on, come off of there. I gotta get I gotta get a rag. Kind of hurts my fingers trying to get one of the sharp edges. All right. Take and pull that off of there. Much better. Teeth are nice and straight now. So I did guess pretty close. So basically, it's a good gear. The first one is a little off, but this one here looks pretty nice. So, and that's how I make a gear without using an indexing head or a rotary table. And now, when you get done with it, you take that lid and a piece of paper, put it away, and you've got a setup for a 20-tooth gear. Next time you just plop it in and away you go. Okay, I finished up. I put the gear, a good gear in the motor or the cam assembly, and it's looking pretty good. So I don't know if it'll focus on that or not, but the gear train is good. And like I said at the beginning, you don't really need a indexing head or a rotary table to make a gear. It's a luxury. It's not a necessity. There's always a way of working around it. And like I say, now that ice cream lid, I'm going to hang on to it. And that strip of paper, you can use it. You can actually use it over and over and over again. Erase the lines, put new holes in, and you can cut any number of teeth that you want to cut. There's no limitation. So anyway, it's just something nice to have on the shelf. You know, if somebody comes or you need a special gear that you're not able to index for, there you go. You can index it. And this was the first time that I've used a hob. And I think I have seen the light. I think I will be changing the way that I cut gears. I don't think I'm going to ever go back to the single point. This worked many times better than single pointing. With a fly cutter, because there you got to grind. You have to grind the tooth, basically a tooth, to cut with, and you have to grind the profile of that tooth, fairly close. And sometimes I can dink around with that. I'll go over and on the mill and poke a couple holes for the part of the profile, and then hand grind the rest of it, and then heat treat it, and then plus you have that interrupted, the cut, and there I don't think I've ever taken full depth of cut with a fly cutter like that. Where this hob, I went full cut, full depth right away, came out nice. And actually, I never sharpened it. I did not. I cut the flutes in it. I cut the teeth, cut the flutes, and basically deburred it a little bit. And I didn't deburr a whole lot because I didn't want to break the front edge or the cutting edge. So I did not break it a whole lot. I just knocked some of the high burrs off of it, and it was made out of A2. It was wrapped up. A friend of mine, he treated it for me. It's at 62 Rockwell is what it's at. But it performed like a champ. So anyway, there's cutting a gear with an ice cream lid. So it's possible to cut any gear you want with just an ice cream lid and a piece of paper and the correct hob. My next project's probably, when I get time, is to make like some different hobs now. I'm definitely going to go that route. So I will label this hob up and put it away, and next time I need a 48 tooth, or 48 diametrical pitch, I will dig it out. Plus I got cutter on both ends, so when one side does get a little dull, I be able to use it over and over. Anyway, thanks for watching, and don't let the lack of equipment put a damper on it. I mean, figure it out. There's a way around it. Back in the old days, they didn't have all the fancy equipment we had, and look at what they accomplished. So, until next time, catch you later.